Welcome to today's headlines. Kanus was discharged by court. He doesn't need Shørty to be released. Kanus was discharged by court. He doesn't need Shørty to be released. To my dear listeners, from wherever you're listening from, please stay tuned as I read today's news. The indigenous people of Biafra Laipo says Kanus, its leader does not need anyone to stand Shørty for him before he's released. In a statement on Monday, a more powerful IPOP spokesperson said a court of competent jurisdiction had ordered the unconditional release of Kanus. Powerful was reacting to a recent comment by Chukwuma Soludo, governor of Anambra. Soludo had called on the federal government to release Kanus, saying he would stand as Shørty for the IPOP leader. Powerful, however, said Soludo should instead devote his efforts towards persuading and compelling the federal government to obey the judgment of the court and release him. It is important, therefore, to clarify that our leader, Mazi Kanus, has no any form of indictment or even charge pending against him today before any court by the authority of this judgment, the statement read. The issue of granting bail or otherwise does not arise by any stretch of consideration or imagination because it is the federal government that is today in breach of this order or of a superior court of competent jurisdiction. There is no charge hanging on his Kanus' neck today. We have gone beyond the issue of Shørty or no Shørty. Every genuine call demand in the prevailing circumstance should be firmly directed at calling out on the federal government of Nigeria to immediately obey the order for the unconditional release of Onyedu made by its court. May we also remind Governor Soludo and others that Onyedu's current incarceration is not sanctioned by any law known to man. It is unconstitutional and an affront to constitutional democracy and rule of law. In October 2022, the Court of Appeal in Abuja struck out the terrorism charge filed against Kanus. The appellate court held that Kanus' extradition from Kenya to Nigeria to stand trial was illegal. The federal government later filed an appeal before the Supreme Court, challenging the judgment, and subsequently filed an amended charge before a federal high court. The federal government also filed to stay the execution in the appellate court and it was granted. Speaking in an interview with the Cable on Monday, Modibo Bakari, a legal practitioner, said Kanu cannot be released because of the stay of execution application of the federal government, which was granted by the court. According to the human rights lawyer, the charges amended by the federal government also supersedes the previous acquittance or discharge because they are fresh charges against him which has to be attended to differently and independently of the previous one charged. He added that Kanu can secure his release through a bail application which would be granted by the discretion of the court. Once you appeal against a judgment by law, it means the status quo should be maintained until the appeal is determined, he said. In the circumstance of the two, whether there was an appeal or there was an amended charge, that judgment of acquittance will not salvage him to get an automatic release. It remains the position of the law that he must apply for bail, especially as to the amended charges, before the court, and the court always has the discretion to grant him bail. Now we've come to the end of our today's news. Please do drop by the comment section